Senator Ted Cruz easily winning the Republican primary in Texas. He got well over 80% of the vote. Cruz will now be challenged by Democrat Beto O'Rourke. The Cruz campaign already getting into the swing of things. They have a new ad mocking O'Rourke for his name. Take a listen.
I remember reading stories. Liberal Robert wanted to fit in, so he changed his name to Beto and hit it with a grin. Beto wants those open borders and wants to take our guns. Not a chance on earth he'll get a vote from millions of Texans.
The senator could sing that way. Joining us now is Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. Senator, thank you for taking the invitation. Congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you, Chris. Good to be with you this morning.
So what do you make of the turnout numbers? There was a boost for Republicans as well that should be added, but you've been talking about Democrats coming out. You see it as a signal.
Well, listen, there's no doubt the extreme left right now is energized. They are angry. They hate the president. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that in the fundraising numbers for Democrats all across the country. We're seeing that in turnout. That being said, in Texas last night, we had a strong turnout for conservatives. It was really encouraging. The early vote numbers were quite good for Democrats, but at the end of the night, I was very gratified to win over 85% of the vote, to win 1.3 million votes, which is more than double what my Democratic opponent got. That doesn't quite fit the narrative that a lot of folks in the media want to tell, because every 2 years, every 4 years, Texas is always fixing to turn blue. But the nice value of it is, in Texas at least, there are a lot more conservatives than there are liberals.
So you're subscribing to the idea of a blue wave that is hitting a red wall. So O'Rourke will be your challenger, but you're already going after him. Why, if you don't take it seriously and you had twice the votes? Why go after him so early?
Let's be clear. We absolutely take the race seriously. We take nothing for granted. I'm going to do everything I can to continue to earn the support of every one of 28 million Texans across the state. And I will say for the voters that there's a clear contrast on substance and policy and ideas. Congressman O'Rourke is running hard to the left. He is embracing positions like open borders, like amnesty. He's embracing positions like aggressive advocacy of gun control and undermining our Second Amendment. Now, those are wonderfully popular positions if you're running for the Senate in New York or Massachusetts or California, but this is Texas, and those are not the views of the vast majority of Texans, and I think that's why you saw the overwhelming election results last night.
Are you concerned about your poll numbers? I'm looking at one here from YouGov from February 1st to 12th. Has you about 40-40 approve, disapprove. 10 points higher with strong disapprove than strong approve. You worried about those numbers?
You know, there are always these online polls that end up oversampling a bunch of Democrats. And listen, we live in a polarized world right now, so it's not surprising if you ask a bunch of Democrats their approval of Republicans. The numbers are pretty low. You know, I will say, though, for anyone that follows Texas politics, we all remember back 4 years ago when Wendy Davis was the next big thing in the national media. She had filibustered in support of late-term abortion. The national media loved her. Well, on primary day, she lost in the Democratic primary. It was either 22 or 23 counties, all in South Texas, against an unknown Democrat with no money at all. And that really presaged the fact that her views were out of step, even for Democratic primary voters in Texas. The reason I draw that analogy is last night we saw something very similar. Congressman O'Rourke won barely 60% of the Democratic primary against two opponents with no name ID and no money. And just like Wendy Davis, he lost South Texas. He lost the Valley badly. And I think that underscores that most Texans look at a candidate who brags about his F rating from the NRA. And just a couple of weeks ago, Congressman O'Rourke tweeted out to the world how proud he was that he has an F rating from the NRA. Not a D, not a D minus, not a C, an F. And I happily retweeted it. I said, look, we got a choice. And if you're running to succeed Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco, that's a great thing to be tweeting out. Those are the values of that district's voters. But in Texas, those are not the values of Texas. And that's why, at the end of the day, I think we're going to see a very strong election day in November.
So we'll get into a couple of these policies.